Hey guys, it is me, K42, and welcome back to another opinion video. This one, unlike the last one, will be very different. The format is a whole lot better, and it's what I'm going to be using for any my opinion videos in the future if I continue doing this series. So let's get into it. To start off, we have beat 1. Beat 1 is very in the middle when it comes to things. Starting out with sound, it's just your basic hi-hat combo thing. Animation, it's mid because it just doesn't look clean. And the design, it's a good design, it's just the eyes are putting me off. I'd also like to explain right now that I'm ranking it sounds, animations, and designs by a bad, mid, and good tier. And also, mid is not like, man, this is mid, more like mid as in the middle. Let's move on to beat 2. Beat 2 is our first all-around good character. The sound, it's your basic beat. The animation, it does what it needs to do, and it's pretty clean. And the design, it's a very good design. I've got a few more things to say about beat 3 than the other two. To start off with the sound, it's a very, very good beat. I'd say like top 10, top 15 of all time. The animation, despite being very unique, I honestly don't really like it that much. But it is a good animation, so I'll give it that. And the design is pretty good. I'm just not a big fan of the hair, the eyes, and the hat. Beat 4 sound is your basic background percussion. The animation serves that sound well though, and the design I think is one of the top 5 in this mod. Again, beat 5 is just your basic shaker. The animation does it fairly well, but I wouldn't say it's very good compared to the last one. And the design, it was a mid until I noticed the straw and the lemon. Those details made the design good for me. Effect 1 is just your typical bass, which makes it good. The animation, I'm not a big fan of it, but it does get the job done. And the design is pretty phenomenal. I mean, it's a good design. Effect 2 is one of the worst in this mod. Its sound kind of sounds like one of those poorly made scratch mods that was made by a kid. The animation's alright, I just wouldn't say it's good. And the design, the only thing that's saving it is the tank top. The hair and the head is just horrid. For Effect 3, I think the sound is good. It's just not really up there to be considered good in this case. The animation, again, not really much there. And the design kind of resembles something from Pieggi, and I'm also not a big fan of the hair. If it wasn't for the similarity, I wouldn't have put it at mid, I would have put it at good, but I don't know the situation behind it, so mid is a safe bet. Unpopular opinion, but I think Effect 4 sound is actually really good. I think the throat singing does wonders for this mod. I think the animation matches it pretty well, I just think it could have more to it, and the design, despite being bald, which I hate, is really good. Effect 5 sound is pretty basic, starts the end, comes back. Its animation for the sound is actually pretty good, and the design ain't doing anything for me, but it's not bad. Melody 1 has a good sound to it, it's a nice arpeggio-like sound. The animation fits well and is a nice little concept, and the design honestly ain't much, it's just kind of like a flower and it's not doing too much for me. Melody 2 is the second sound to be considered bad. I know how hard it is to make a trumpet sound with your mouth sound good in a mod. Just another example of that happening. The animation is just your basic trumpet animation, and the design is pretty good, but I wouldn't say it's that good, that's why it's in mid. Melody 3 is just your basic synth sound, nothing too special. The animation works well with it, and the design is actually pretty good. Melody 4 is definitely my favorite sound in this mod. The use of that digital voice thing was perfect. The animation fits the sound very well, and the design is just green dystopia, and I actually really like it. Definitely one of the top 5 melodies of all time. Melody 4 to Melody 5 has to be the biggest sound drop-up I've ever seen in a mod. Melody 5 sounds just good enough to not be considered bad, but it's not very good. The animation fits it, but again, is just barely above that bad category. The only thing going for Melody 5 is the design. It's actually one of the best in the mod. Voice 1 is just barely below good. It's just not quite there yet. I like the concept of the voice again, but it just does not work as well as Melody 2. And the animation is actually really exceptional. It's got a lot to it. But I can't convince myself to like this design. I mean, just the whole 3D aspect of it just sucks. The shirt and pants look goofy, and it's just everything about it, even the hair, just throws me off, and I just don't really like it. I think this is one of the examples of people going too far in Incredibox mod and stretching too far away from the actual Incredibox. Voice 2 is kind of a failed choir. It really does not sound too good. Again, it's that computer generated where it just does not sound clean when transitioning. The animation lacks a lot, but it is decent, and the design is also lacking in a lot of things. I just noticed the 6-pack while recording this, but still, mid. Voice 3 is another example of lyrical sounding characters just sound horrible. The animation actually has a lot to it to make up for this really bad sound. And the design, I mean, the hat looks pretty cool, but it's just the tank top looking thing just ain't sitting right with me. Voice 4 is the last of 3 to score good on all categories. The vocals on this character are really good. I cannot stop listening to them. The animation fits the sound very well, and the design, despite being a woman, is still pretty good. By the way, that woman part was a joke, so women, please don't hate me. Voice 5 is not a very good closer of all these characters. The sound is just your basic, hey. The animation is kind of lackluster, but it gets the job done. And the design, for some reason, just ain't doing much for me. Now I'm going to do the overall scoring of each category, with good giving you 1 point, mid giving you half a point, and bad giving you nothing. Sounds overall scored a 13 out of 20, which is a 6.5 out of 10, with 7 good, 10 mid, and 3 bad. Animation ends up with a score of 14 out of 20, or 7 out of 10, with 8 animations being good, 12 being mid, and none being bad. As for the designs, they also score a 14 out of 20, which is 7 out of 10, but this time having 9 good, 10 mid, and 1 bad. Now let's talk about the main man himself. I swear, somebody needs to remove Artemy's ability to post comments. Every time I see one of his comments, I cringe. I mean, look at this. I know this isn't a comment, but this title is just horrible. I mean, every time I see this man comment, I just want to kill my... Quick message to Artemy, in these videos I like to make fun of the creator just a little bit, but it's all good fun. Also, those dislikes were just for the joke as well, and I removed them after taking the screenshot. Also, quick side note, I saw this comment on his most recent video and I thought it was pretty funny. Jokes aside, my overall rating of this mod is a 7.2 out of 10, but due to the bonus, it gets a plus 0.2, so it's a 7.4 out of 10. The way I give bonus points is 1 point for a mid to bad bonus and 2 points for a good bonus. So you have reached the end of the video. I thank you for watching this far. Linked in the description is my Discord server and second account. It's all up to how this video performs if I'm going to continue this series. I spent a good 2 to 3 hours longer than I usually would on a video, so if it doesn't perform well, I don't think it's worth my time to continue it. I hope you guys have a good rest of your days, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.